My first doll in this video is a Momoko. This is everyday B-girl Momoko. She was a generous gift from a very kind friend. She is adorable. I don't do as much with her as I probably should because Momoko plastic, especially the wrist and the ankles, tend to get very delicate as they age. But she is a fun doll to dress because she can wear smaller clothes. She's seen here wearing a Mary-Kate and Ashley dress that I thrifted because thrift is good enough for me and it's good enough for my dolls. Now we have a flower princess Lisette. I got my first flower princess doll when I was very young in around 1981 or 82. It was a Christmas present. I had never even considered the possibility of a doll having purple hair before. And then I got this amazing doll with curly hair. It's much curlier than this. I could not remember what had happened to my flower princess dolls and I wanted to replace her. So I looked on eBay and I found some that were a good price, but I couldn't be moved to get any of them. And then one day I walked in the thrift store and there she was. So of course I got her and I put her head on this Fashionista's Raquel tone body and I am very happy to have her. Actually, a few weeks after that I found another flower princess Lisette who I passed on to someone else who had expressed admiration for this unusual early 80s doll. And she is one of the princesses of my collection because she's adorable and nostalgic. Now we have a Monster High Custom, another doll from John, done in the style of Cherry in the Studio Killers videos. She is a Frankie Stein who has had a few new body parts sculpted on, perkier boobs and hippier hips, and it is a great body. It's almost a shame to cover it up, but I do like to dress my dolls. She's wearing a Barbie dress, although not in the way that Mattel intended. And she is a gorgeous, distinct doll that is very, very of the era. And another cute John custom. Here is Hemlock. She is a Barbie Mackie sculpt on a Fashionista's body. And obviously, once again, I have painted everything green and repainted her facial features. It is her original hair. She was a late 90s, I think, deluxe Mattel Snow White, and I thrifted her with a broken neck and the head jammed really far down on the neck. So no guilt about appropriating her for this entirely new green doll. And I love my green dolls. And I am very happy with how I painted her face. Like I said before, I get nervous when painting on paint, but she turned out well. Here is another doll, much like Lisette, that I had a doll with this Shani sculpt from Mattel in the past, and I was getting the hankering to have another one. And I looked on eBay, and of course, she is harder to find and more expensive because I think a lot of people want this sculpt. Mattel is actually going to reuse her for a doll this year. But then I walked into a thrift store and I found this doll. Well, her head, she's on the, well, she'd had a haircut. She was a line from Mattel that was not Barbie, not Shani, just called Asha, which had a sort of purple kente cloth theme. So I thrifted her and I got her head onto an gymnast Christie body, which matches her older 90s style skin tone. I glued on some yarn for her hair, and I might repaint her and give her new hair sometime in the future, but I really like her the way she is now. She's very quirky, and I like my dolls to be quirky. Another doll that I decided that I wanted and then found in a thrift store is this 1987 Christie sculpt. When I first saw the sculpt in 87 or 88, I thought she looked like Janet Jackson and she was fantastic. But then I got older and more jaded and less into open-mouthed smiles. I left this sculpt behind. So happy to find her, and this is the first time I've ever repainted one of these faces, and I think was able to give her a nice sort of coy and yes, snarky look, because I do like my snarky dolls. And even though her original hair was intact, it was long and straight, and I wanted her to have something with more character. So I actually, for this hair, you know, and she is on a high-heeled gymnast style body. It was actually from Hollywood Nails Christie, I do believe. And I have heat reshaped her hands like I do with most of my gymnast Barbie bodies. But her hair is actually made from a knit cloth that I pulled apart, and it made a great hair texture. Here is Winky Guard Ken, and beyond removing a little bit of paint from around his mouth, he is stock. He is originally this bald, and he is originally this green, and I bought him when he was new in about, 2006 or 2007, at $40 for him and a flying monkey and all those clothes I would never use. He was a splurge, but years later, I obviously still have him, even though I go through dolls fairly quickly sometimes. So I really, really am happy with this doll. And then we have this guy. The head is from a Happy Family Allen, which is not the most respected head, but then I started really looking at the way he was sculpted, and realized that he actually had a lot in common with the Tango sculpt on the Ken that I just showed you. So I decided that I would make him just as green, and copy this guy's paint, and sculpt some new hair and a beard on him, and put him on a fully articulated gymnast Ken body, which was actually originally a Mies body, and Mies guys have huge hands, so I actually cut his hands off and gave him some custom articulated hands using hands from an older gymnast Ken body who had also had his hands cut off and replaced with action figure hands. Painted him all green, gave him this purple with pink highlight hair, and he's a happy Tango Ken, kinda. Here we have Violet. She is a hair-tastic Barbie with the purple hair. So this is her stock hair, and she has the closed mouth Generation Girl sculpt. I repainted her and put her on a fashionista's body, given sort of a vaguely quirky outfit, and also gave her the sister, who is Rose, which is an open smile Generation Girl sculpt with her original pink hair, and I repainted her. This is also the first Generation Girl, one of the first Generation Girl faces. See, they have very similar appearance, just open or closed mouth, and I guess they were sisters, and I painted them the same and dressed them very similar and put them both on fashionistas' bodies. And that is Rose.